everybody, and welcome to my podcast, Talking Out My. You get it, right? Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I know YouTube has so many selections for you, and I'm just grateful that you gave me your time. So let me just give you a little intro of who I am and why you might want to stick around. My name is Sandra, born, raised, still living and stuck in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. I am 62 years of age, single, mother of two growing children, a daughter in her early 40s, and my son is in his mid 30s, and my most precious gem, a grandson who will be 7 this year. Now, I am a general manager for an apartment complex and have been doing that going on 20 years. Love to travel, love to live life, and I obviously have a little bit of a gift of gab. My intro into the podcast world started a few months ago. I had met somebody and we partnered up and did some podcasts, which I found really enjoyable, exciting. Unfortunately, due to, we'll call it creative differences, we had to part ways. But the bug for needing to do a podcast remained. So I thought, why not? I can figure this out, and that's what I'm doing. I'm definitely not tech savvy, and I'm not, on top of it all, but I tend to keep climbing till I get there. Now, it was what would you do a podcast about? What would interest everybody? All the adults out there going through daily life. And then it hit me, daily life, just life itself topics. So instead of narrowing it down to one little niche, I decided I'm just going to pull topics out you get it, right? So what I've done is, in my friend Donkey, say hello, Donkey. What I have done is I have hundreds of just different topics that I'm going to pull out of my, and then we're just going to talk about it. I have no degree. I don't hold a doctorate. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just an everyday person who wanted to share my opinions with you. And as we all know, opinions are much like buttholes, and we all have them. So I'm just showing you mine. All right. So the premises is every week we'll all be surprised to find out what we'll be talking about. So let's start off with our first podcast. I'm going to give Donkey a little shake. All right, guys. I am going to open him up. I'm going to try to pull one, which I got one right here. Let me put the lid back on to miss your Donkey here. All right, Donkey, thank you. All right, guys. Let's see what we're rolling with. Sounds like he's excited. All right. Okay. All right. Let's get this going. Oh. Wow. I guess we're just going to get right to it. Wasn't expecting this one that early. So it says, give 18-year-old you some advice. Okay. Well, I'm going to do nothing but be real and speak from my heart and my experiences. So here we go. I, at 18, was married. Met a man that I thought would be my forever. He was a little bit older than me, not by much. Family was not happy. I did not realize I came from a prejudiced family. It was never seen. It wasn't put out there until I met the man of my dreams at that time, and he happened to be a Black Canadian male. This did not sit well with my family. Surprising to me because I thought they raised me better than that. So, being 18 and in love, and like I said, thought it was my forever. We've all been 18. We know how that is. We got married. Now, Was it a difficult time? Yes. Yes, it was. We had some really good times and we had some really horrible times. And I do believe I was blessed, definitely, because I did have my two children in this 13-year marriage. So, yes, thankful. Now, what would I tell 18-year-old self with the knowledge I have now? Share with me back then? I'd tell her no. I'd tell her to wait. If you really love this person, take your time. If it's meant to be, it will be. I would have rather been able to travel the world, get all of my desires out of me at a young age where, I would build memories, and that didn't pan out. Instead, I built a family. Please, in no way am I remorseful or do I regret getting married at 18 and having two of the most amazing children in the world. All I'm saying is if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't get married at 18. But having said that, if getting married or if not getting married, sorry, at 18 meant I wouldn't have the children I'd have today, then yes, I would do it all over again. It's a real difficult thing to process, but that was the biggest stepping stone in my life at that time, and unfortunately, as I said, being young, forced into real maturity early, because now here we are paying rent, car bills, insurance, working full time, just the youth came to a quick end and the responsibility of life kicked in. Now, the unfortunate thing, because we were young, we kind of just went different paths, and the marriage became a struggle. So I feel badly that I could not give my children a family that stayed together forever. But I felt it was the best thing at that time to do. And I've made several mistakes. I'm certainly not going to point a finger and say it was all him, because it takes two. It always does. I just got to the point where I remembered what I don't change, I accept. And at that point in my life, I couldn't accept that marriage in the way it was. So it was time to move on. So mistakes were made, but lessons were learned. And that's something that I'm forever grateful for. I'm definitely not a perfect person. I do make mistakes, poor judgment, errors. We are human. But as long as I can learn from those mistakes, remember them, because that's extremely important. You can't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and expecting a different outcome. So if I'm able to learn from my mistakes in life, go forward, share my experiences that maybe help someone else learn, that's a beautiful thing. In all honesty, I always thought I knew who I was, right? I was raised very independently. Be a leader, not a follower, that hold your head up, you're strong. And I was grateful for all of that. And I really thought I had control over who I was. But reality, two marriages and a long relationship later, when I lost that love of my life after 17 years to cancer, and you're alone, that's when I really found out who I was, what I was about, and what made me happy. So 7 years ago is when I truly had my epiphany and knew what I needed out of life. And it's not an apartment full of furniture, and it's not, fancy things. It's not even the money. It's being where I'm happy. It's doing what makes me happy. It's treating people with respect and expecting the same in return. Just living life. And that is what I'm doing now. So, as I said earlier, 18-year-old me, if we come back and do this again, if we meet someone we love and we think that's the one, if they're the one, they're going to wait. So live your life, do what makes you happy, experience those things, and try to find yourself sooner than later. That would be my advice. Now I'm curious, anybody out there, what would you do differently? What would you say to 18-year-old you that you think would make a difference in the outcome of your life? As I said, no regrets, no remorse, grateful for every lesson I learned, and more so grateful for the wonderful children that I was able to have. But what would you do? I really hope that I get to hear from the people out there. First and foremost, let's just hope there's people out there, because I would feel a little foolish that I'm talking out my to myself. But I guess it wouldn't be the first or the last time. So really, people, can you tell me in the comments, what would you have done differently? What would you advise 18-year-old you to do? How would your life have ended up if it was done differently? I can't wait to read your comments. And please send me your topic ideas. We would love nothing more than to be able to put more stuff up his in the jar. Sorry, don't get. And possibly pull yours out. This is what I love about this. I'm not rehearsed. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I might be fumbling, but I'm going to work my way through it. Please subscribe. Like the video. I really appreciate that. Now, I'm not going to force you, because I know not everybody likes me. Not everybody's going to like my videos. Not everybody's going to appreciate this podcast. But a girl would really appreciate a like or two along with those subscriptions and comments. So if possible, please subscribe, comment, like, and feel free to share. Because if this little topic, what would you advise yourself at 18? What would you do differently? Just puts a little tingle in the brain and allows you to ponder that, then I've done my job. So I want to let you know that I am going to be here as often as possible. Just don't get at me talking out and looking forward to hearing what you all have to say. So once again, thank you so much for choosing to watch this podcast. You are greatly appreciated. I hope your day goes fantastic. You've made mine just being here with me. So thank you so much for letting me talk out and we'll see you next time.